I think it's just a human condition. And, I'm going to say this, that the foundation procrastination is built on is usually fear. Yes, it can be built on laziness, but if you really dissect it and get down to the what's really causing it, there's a lot of fear involved in breaking into this field or any other field, that we don't have the confidence we have to have in order to break in, and we think we have to have 100% or 90% confidence in order to be successful in this, to start it, and we don't. That's a fallacy. And let me say this for those of you who have just recently commented on my videos that you're talking about enrolling in school, but I want you to understand this. Hey, hey there, K-Calk, how are you? That's cool. I'm glad you're here with me. There are a couple comments that I just saw come up. And I want you to always understand that confidence isn't built always on the back of a degree. And a degree, and if you're in school now, stay in. Okay? Stay in. But if you're looking at this and you're thinking, I'm going to have to go into debt, or I need to go into debt, or I can't go into school because I cannot afford this, so that's dead in the water, I can't do this career. All of that is ridiculously false. So you say, but how do I, listen, not every attorney, so many attorneys out there they're not all looking for somebody who is certified through NALA, has gone through 2 years of an ABA approved school. They're not all looking for that. So, if you are thinking that you've got, because that's what you're assuming, and let me tell you this, assumptions in the legal field are a huge no-no. So I want you to listen closely to what I'm saying, that if you have a strong command of the English language, you're very good with English grammar, you are, you know how to type relatively fast. Yeah, I'm an introvert and an extrovert. Sorry that your comments are not staying up there, so I'm just trying to catch them as they come up. That's how YouTube is when we're doing lives, especially on the smartphone. If I had my laptop, I would see it off to the right. But yeah, introvert, extrovert, and every combination of personality is in law, as attorneys, as judges, and as paralegals. It runs the gamut. So don't ever think that X's you out because you're an introvert. But for us who, can take just so much of dealing with the public, again, it depends on the area of law you're in and how much you will always deal with the public. But to what degree through the door? It was just the type of law firm it was. I've been in several law firms like that, where I had phones, though, to deal with always. So it is something that's why I will say lunchtime comes for us who have that introvert side. Sorry, the live stream is acting up here. The hour that I had alone, or 45 minutes, was necessary to refresh. And for those who are introverts, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That are extreme, or it's heavily on the extrovert side, the silence and the alone time is not so comfortable. So you have to ask yourself, as an extrovert, do I need to thrive in a law firm? Like, what do I need to thrive? Do I need to be in a firm where there's constant people contact? And I actually don't mind that, but then I have to have a time where I can get away from it. And that's usually the lunchtime. And that's usually the only time, But then sometimes I'll have a 2-hour period where I don't have any phones, or no attorneys coming in, pulling at me to do another task when I've got to focus on maybe writing something. And So having a 2 hour time period, excuse me, is huge blessing, you know. And for introverts, that's always important, but sometimes you don't get it. So you have to prepare your mind as an introvert for, like, you take care of yourself. So lunchtime comes, you never stay in your office. Don't do that. Attorneys to expect that of you, and you need to get out and go. I used to go to a bookstore. I mean, so much of the time, because that was my happy place. Today we're talking about procrastination. And you have two choices with procrastination. You can just decide not to go forward. Or number two, you have to exercise some discipline and start to move forward. Does that mean you have to have 100% confidence, or even 90 or 80%? No, you can have 1%, 2%, like where you're like, oh, you barely feel confident, but you make some strides, some baby steps towards your end game. What's your end game? Is the paralegal job, right? Or if you're a paralegal now and you're looking at changing jobs, believe me, for my newbie paralegals who are not in the field yet, you still are hesitant sometimes to change jobs because there's the fear of the unknown. So it's the same type of feeling. It's another barrier to get over. And once you become, it's really like becoming mentally athletic in blasting through the barriers. And you have to train your mind to blast through those. And it might be you're blasting through your pace, and blasting through maybe like a little bit slower than the next person. So what? So what? Just go at your pace and start ticking off things that you've accomplished. I want you to understand your value to the law firm more than anybody else, because the people in the law firm may not get your value. As long as you understand your value, and you might be sitting there going, what value? I don't. You have some foundation skills that you need to enter this field. And that's your typical office skills, your filing, your typing, your English grammar skills, all of that, to punctuation, proofreading, to punctuation, proofreading is huge. You know, the attorney's not your proofreader. You're the proofreader. You're the middle person. You're the person who's driving all this. The attorney is not managing the cases. You are filed electronically, not the attorney. Don't depend on the attorney for that. So confidence builds by learning one step at a time. In the first law firm, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even understand the language being spoken in the law firm. I had to go get language being spoken in the law firm. I had to go get, look in the videos, the previous videos in the description box. You'll see a link to a pamphlet on Amazon. It's an affiliate link. Full disclosure, it's affiliate link. But it's a pamphlet I like that's laminated, and it has legal terminology on it. Now, back when I started, I had to go take a class to learn some legal terminology. And I also bought a tiny legal dictionary just to have with me. But I mean, you can also look it up online now and have that at your disposal, right? So procrastination is not usually based on laziness. It's based on fear of the unknown. And just understand that, and understand that nobody is ahead of you when you're starting out at that starting line. You're all in the same place. And how fast you go is up to you, okay? Well, you can look up some videos, Gina, that are already on this channel. On my channel here, when you see a little magnifying glass, click on that and look up interview. And you'll see, I think there's several interview videos regarding interviews, okay? So today we're talking about procrastination, because that really stops a lot of people from moving forward. It's the fear. So feel free, though, to ask me any questions below. I'll answer them if I can. Now, step number one when you're looking at this career, and this is a book I've written called Legal Break-In. That to me is step number one. It gives you an insider's look. You should get that book, whether it's paperback or Kindle, on Amazon. Legal Break-In. The second step is in January, and you can look at some previous videos in the description box. You'll see a link to my Paralegal Inner Circle class. That does not launch until January. I don't launch it during the holidays because people are crazy busy, and I want you to be able to focus. And January is a great time to start. So registration will be in January, and you can learn more about that on my website, okay? I won't cover that here. But that is step number two. That's my recommendation, okay? Don't think that you have to attend a 2-year school in order to get in, whether you're in California or not. It's not every law firm wants a certified paralegal. Do you understand? There are attorneys who work by themselves. There are small law firms. There are many avenues to jump in, unless you're in, if you're in LA, or you're in Houston, or you're in New York City area. I grew up in New Jersey, like right across the river from Manhattan. There are buku jobs around there. If you're in a tiny town like I was in Oklahoma, there weren't many legal jobs. So I had to go 40 miles one way to Tulsa in order to find jobs. Like, there were always job openings in Tulsa. And Tulsa at that point was a town of, 400,000 people. So Oklahoma City would be in the same area, Dallas, Fort Worth, smaller towns aren't going to have the opportunities. Albany, New York would have more opportunities than a small town outside of Albany. Rochester would have more opportunity, but Albany would have more because I believe Albany's the capital, correct? So correct me if I'm wrong. While Trenton is the capital of New Jersey, that wouldn't be where I would, find a lot of work. Philadelphia would be open, would have more openings, as would northern New Jersey than in the Trenton area. So, you have to look at where will I have more opportunity, and the more jobs that are available, the more opportunity for people to jump in who are new to the field, and you don't need school. But if you're in school right now, don't be discouraged. I've had people join my class just in the launch in June, and then other people in the launch when I launched it in September that were already in school or just finished in August. And they were like, oh my gosh, did I waste my time? No, you didn't waste your time. But what I'm trying to tell you is you don't have to go that route in order to break in the field. If you're in school and you're in your first semester right now, or your last, stay in it and finish. See it through. But if you're not, and you're like, oh, I can't get into this because I don't want to go into debt. More power to you. Don't go into debt to go into this career. Sorry guys, the comments just disappear, but I will talk and answer your questions and stuff when I'm done here, I promise. So I apologize. Oh, here we go. Now they're coming up. No, the class starts in January. Yeah, January, honey. And yeah, Gina, I would do a search for all of you when you're on the main part of my channel and you see a little magnifying glass. That's the search area. Click on it and you can put a search term in there. So if you're looking for interview, something regarding interview, put that in there and it'll bring up all the videos that have that keyword in it. If you're looking for, let's see, what else could I, talk about? I don't know, like say you wanted to find out what were challenges for paralegals. You could put the word challenge in there and it would bring up, videos with that word in it or, close to that word. So do searches that way because it might be, a topic that you're looking for. No, you know what? I mean, if you can finish that semester, hun, and get it get get it done. This is the reason I developed the course is this. Over 20 plus years, I have heard from people who have gone through school and they finished and then they could not land a job. And I'm going to tell you, it's all in how you're communicating yourself and your skills, okay? And I teach that in my course, but I also don't just teach how to do a cover letter. There's 38 to 39 videos in the course. I teach you how to get some legal knowledge that you are not given in school, okay? And then that gives you an edge. And the way you do the cover letters to attorneys, and I teach you how to do 2 different ones, is everything. Because after all, we're selling ourselves via our resume and cover letter. And you never send a resume off without a cover letter. It is an ace for you, and I teach you how to make it an ace. They don't require you to have a bachelor's. You're looking at ads that are saying that. Not all the ads say that, okay? I'm very familiar with New York. I grew up in New Jersey. I am very familiar with Manhattan and what they're asking people to do. I had somebody come on in a video on Facebook, I think it was, because hey guys, I have a page over there called Paralegal Coffee Talk. If you're comfortable coming over there, hang out with us. It's all newbie paralegals, pretty much. I had somebody say, and took my course in June, that said, there are no jobs unless you have a bachelor's in New York City. They won't even, you know what? I went right on my favorite job site that I recommend to people through my course, and I found jobs for people, with no experience. So there's a certain techniques in searching that I teach you for jobs. Out of all the openings in New York, and if we're talking Manhattan, now if we're talking some tiny town that has 2 jobs open, that's something different if they're both saying they want bachelors. Anyway, that's ludicrous. That there's no need to have a bachelor's in paralegalism. Let me tell you that. There's no need to have a 2-year degree in paralegalism. But while you're doing it, finish it. Finish it and pat yourself on the back for finishing your course. And if you're looking at this career for the first time, I don't want you to X yourself out of it because you're not going to go to school. It all comes down to, look, let me tell you something. When attorneys come out of law school, they are paralegals know far more than the attorneys, the baby attorneys coming out of law school. Let me tell you this, because law school teaches them how to handle court, how to write, how to critically think. They don't always teach them even how to write properly. They come out sometimes at a deficit. So, and same thing with paralegals going to school. It's not the practical side of paralegalism and how you're going to help the attorney in the day-to-day workload. We're not standing around with law books pontificating about the law, right? We are doing clerical work. We are doing research. We are talking to the clients. We are formatting. So there's so much that isn't taught. Some schools do a bang-up job and some schools do not. Some schools teach the practical side and some do not. And I can tell you, that, let's see, yeah, um, what some, this is what happens. The schools, in order to maintain their accreditation, now listen to what I'm saying, they will hire people to teach who are attorneys. The lady that taught, or the person, I'll say it this way, the person that taught years and years and years ago in a school that I went to, I didn't take the paralegal studies course. Um, she was an attorney who never practiced law. So she could teach you how to become somewhat of a baby attorney, but that's not what we are. That's not what we are. We are the go-to people to solve problems. We are the people who format briefs. I know how to write a brief. I did it years ago, but it's very rare that I'm asked to write a brief. The attorney wants to bill out his or her time, so they write the brief. Okay, it's not a, it's done. They hire attorneys to teach, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, to maintain their accreditation in the school, and then the attorney teaches you from his or her standpoint, but it's not from the standpoint of the person managing the workload. Okay, so you don't get this great view of what you're doing every day, and that's what I teach you. I teach you from a standpoint of working in litigation, because that gives you such flexibility in your career as you go forward. When I teach you how to manage your cases, then I give you, it's like somebody teaching you, instead of giving you a fish, I teach you how to fish. So that feeds you for a lifetime. You understand? So I teach you how to work in a practical manner, how to manage that everyday workload, what you should be doing on day one that you start. What should you do when you sit down at the computer? And my course keeps getting more stuff added to it to beef it up. And so I'm going to, add another thing probably at the end of this month. That's another, another download. And what you get is 38 to 39 videos, and it's on demand. It's not me live. It's on demand so that you can watch it at midnight if you want to. But then you have buku downloads to keep. You don't keep the videos, you keep the downloads. And then you have me in a private Facebook group to ask questions twice a month. So, and we're in the middle of that right now. Yeah, I mean, when I was in school, I had a judge and I had a police chief as one of my professors. One was a judge, one was a police chief, and I was in the criminal justice course. That was not. I wasn't looking at that as needed to be a paralegal. At that point, I was already working as a paralegal. I didn't need that to push forward my career. Okay, I was taking criminal justice primarily so that if I wanted to get a 4-year degree later in something else, I thought maybe for a time I was going to law school, and that's why I'm doing that and taking a different route, not doing paralegal studies. So there was a method and a reason for me doing it that way, but I didn't need a 2-year degree to work as a paralegal. As I got that experience in the first job, then the next job, I landed a bona fide paralegal job, and then the rest is history. But I was aggressive in my pursuit of knowledge. Okay? The more knowledge I had, the better off I was, and I could trade off on that. So I teach you that and more in the course. The course came out of me hearing this story over and over again that I can't get in. All they want is experience. That is bogus. That's not true. That can become an excuse. When you start reading online the negative stuff that, oh, I got my 2-year degree and I couldn't get a job. I've had people come on and challenge me about that. But that is not the case, that it's based on experience. It's that you don't know how to look and you don't know how to sell yourself because you have a lot to offer and you don't know how to offer it. And you need some additional knowledge. And you don't know what that is because you weren't taught what it is. Period. End of story. So, don't procrastinate. Finish up that last semester. And if you're in right now or you need to go back and finish it, do it. Don't put all that to waste. It'll help you, but for those of you who are looking and think that school is the be-all, end-all, no, it is not. And I will tell you that over and over again. I've had people challenge me about California, and same thing, and go, California only hires certified paralegals. Bogus. Totally bogus. There are some law firms that will say that. And then there are a bunch of others that don't care. Okay? So I teach you about that. Oh, as an attorney, this is what I think. When attorneys come out, they are still at a deficit. And it is what you make it. You might not get hired, there may be law firms that will only hire somebody that went to, one of the top 14. But as far as, now we're talking about attorneys. But good grief, I wouldn't let that stop me. It really comes down to what you put into your knowledge bank. You want to be, one of the attorneys I worked for years ago he got his, what do they call it? An LLM. It's a tax certification, tax degree. Got that and worked in government for years. So I'm trying to remember, he did not go to a top 14 school, but he got a really good job. And it really is what the effort that you put into it and your knowledge, and your learning doesn't stop, especially when it comes to taxes and upping your game all the time. And the more knowledge you get, before you know it, you probably will open your own practice. So, but you need to learn first and to earn your chops first and become quite the expert. And then you jump into your own law firm. But you don't put the cart before the horse. And you don't base everything on school. You just don't do it. It's what you put into this, the effort you put into it. Not everybody coming out of law school is this fantastic writer. I've looked at atrocious legal documents that attorneys have written. That's just ridiculous. I've heard of judges laughing at some of the things attorneys have written because it's so over the top. I'll call it flowery language that is like the judges now want you to cut to the chase. They don't want a lot of this crazy language that, no one can understand or that is unnecessary. Yep. Well, you know what? Stop focusing on that you're not going to be in a top 14 school or all of that you've got to learn. And you know what? One of the best ways to learn is become a paralegal, and then if you want to earn money to go to law school, you're not going to make a lot of money in the beginning as a paralegal. You're not, because you still have a lot to learn. But if you could land a job with a tax attorney since that is going to be your end game, then being a paralegal and then go to law school is like huge. You'll be so far ahead that it may be that you can open up your own law firm, but when you graduate. But I would work for somebody else for at least 2 to 3 years and then do it, then bite the bullet, because that's running your own business, and that's another side of it you have to learn how to do, because a lot of attorneys hate to market themselves, and that's something you must do. And that's not something you turn a blind eye towards, and think that it's old school stuff you have to do. You have to do what you're allowed to do within the parameters set by your state bar. And state bar has very strict regulations, wherever state you're in, for marketing and advertising. And so that's something you should look up. And it's not too soon to read that stuff. Do it now, just to do something that's fun to read off to the side. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun for me because I like marketing. So don't give up the ship. Keep going forward. Don't put the paralegal career in a box. And because veteran paralegals, I'm going to tell you, there's two camps. The camp that I'm in with a bunch of paralegals is that you don't need school. But I'm not going to put down school. If you've taken it, you're in it, finish. And the other camp is you must be certified, and that's the only game in town. No, it is not. It is not. Listen to me. Read my lips. Okay? 28 and a half years in this field. And it's not that I've been in the same job for 28 and a half years. Okay? Listen to wisdom. So, questions, comments, post them below. I'll answer you later on tonight, all right? I'm so grateful that you were here with me today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. I love doing live videos, and I love that you're hanging out with me. I really, really love your questions. So they're important for other people as well, because people get discouraged, people give up, and when they read the comments below, you are helping them as well, okay, by asking questions that they may not, they may feel fearful to ask. No, registration will be January 5th through the 12th. So don't even think about the class right now, but you can go to my website and go check out. There's a video there where I talk about the class and info below that. So there's a testimonial there that someone who took my class in June, well, I'm glad that was helpful, hon, really. And I'm glad you were here today, because as I said, other people will think of asking a question, but they might be intimidated. Don't be intimidated. Okay, I want you to ask the question, because that's how you're going to get answers and learn. And you cannot be intimidated. Even if you are, you have to ask questions when you start out at the law firm. You can't hide things. You have to just come out and ask the question of the attorney or your colleagues there, because you're going to be still, even after you take my course, you still have a learning curve depending on the area of law you go in. And you can get a lot of that info once you take my course, and then we talk about what area of law you're looking into. Some things I would recommend that you do to up your game. Okay, so I hope you'll join me in January, but today I wanted to talk about primarily procrastination and not giving up. Okay, the only way you won't achieve is by giving up. Okay, that's the only way that you won't achieve the dream that's been placed on your heart and in your mind, is by giving up totally. So I want you to keep at it, even if it means going like a snail. So what? Go at it like a snail. There's nothing wrong with that. The race, the turtle and the hare, who won? Yeah, the turtle. Because you were going at it systematically and you didn't give up. That's the difference. And you didn't get distracted too much. I get distracted easily. But procrastination is something I battle every day. And so I have to set up somewhat of a little plan, not where I'm bogging myself down, because that doesn't work for me. But I had to have a plan to achieve and to get live videos out for you guys and to get a course together, which I launched 13 months ago. So I don't have it running all the time. I only launch it 2 to 3 times a year. That's why I'm saying January rolls around, get on the wait list. You'll see the wait list for the sign up, not for registration. To get on the wait list is on my website, that where you'll see the link in a previous video. So go over there, get on the wait list, and that way you'll get an email when it's time, like a week before the launch, before the registration. You'll get emails from me. Make sure that you're checking your spam folder. Okay? If you're not, if you don't see things from me in December, then they're in your spam folder. So make sure you check that, okay? Gmail can be, if you're on Gmail, their spam folder is hidden on mine, and I have to go look for it. And I find all sorts of things in there that I've been looking for. All right, so that's it, guys. I'm going to sign off for today. Have a great Wednesday night, and I'll talk to you in the next live video, probably tomorrow sometime. All right, take care. Bye.